More airline drama. American Airlines landed in the hot seat Friday after a flight attendant went full rage on a young mother, then got into a screaming match with another passenger. The woman boarded the Texas-bound flight with a stroller, which wasn't allowed in the cabin. A male flight attendant violently yanked the stroller away, hitting the woman's head and barely missing her twin babies. A video shot during the aftermath shows the woman at the front of the plane crying and asking another flight attendant to give her stroller back. As she's being consoled, a male passenger stands up and asks for the aggressive employee's name. The passenger tells the attendant off when he shows up moments later and is immediately warned to stay out of it. The man confronts the attendant, who repeatedly taunts him to try and deal a hit. The two nearly come to blows, but luckily somebody else intervenes.
Hey, bud. You do that to me and I'll knock you flat.
You stay out of this. Come on.
You get the hell up. Get the hell up.
Come on.
You try that with a man, I'll knock you out. Well, I'm not going to be silly. Yeah. Go with us where we're going.
Come on. You don't know what the story is.
I don't care what the story is. No one's hurt a baby. It was not an accident.
American Airlines has been very apologetic about the incident, suspending the flight attendant and upgrading the mother and her children to first class on another flight. Internet reactions to the people involved in the drama have been mixed, but the airline has emerged mostly unscathed due to effective damage control. Hope you're taking notes there, United. Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. Man, air travel sure brings out the worst in people. United Airlines drags passenger off flight. United Airlines is facing yet another PR disaster. That's after this footage of a bloodied passenger being forcibly removed from a flight went viral. The man was dragged from his seat as the plane sat on the tarmac in Chicago on Sunday, bound for Louisville, Kentucky. It all kicked off when United needed to get 4 staff members to Louisville, but then realized the flight was already full and no seats were available. Passengers who volunteered to give up their seats and take a later flight were offered $400 in compensation and a free hotel stay. But even when that offer was doubled to $800, there were still no takers. That's when United decided to choose the volunteers themselves, and 4 passengers were randomly bumped from the plane. One couple left the airplane without incident, but the man in the video refused. He said he was a doctor and needed to get back to Louisville to see his patients. United staff told the man that security would be called if he didn't get off the plane. Again, he refused, and that's when things got physical.
No, this is wrong. Oh my God, look at what you're doing to him. Oh my.
While this incident was undoubtedly brutal, United is within its legal rights to overbook flights and to remove passengers from their planes. They just have to pay compensation of up to $1,350, depending on the length of the delay. 10 minutes later, the passenger ran back on the plane looking confused. Eventually, all the passengers were made to deboard and go back to the gate while the plane was cleaned up. The plane eventually arrived in Louisville 2 hours late. In a statement, United Airlines apologized for what they described as an overbooking situation, but didn't say sorry to the passenger who was dragged from his seat. In an email to staff on Monday, United CEO Oscar Munoz said the man was disruptive and belligerent. The Chicago Department of Aviation says the security officer who dragged the passenger out of his seat has been put on leave, pending an investigation. Catch me outside the plane, how about that? A troubled teenager who became an internet star after appearing on the Dr. Phil show was kicked off a flight on Monday for hitting another passenger. The squabble took place on a Spirit Airlines plane out of Los Angeles when a female passenger got tired of waiting for Catch Me Outside girl Danielle Brigoli and her mom to put their bags in the overhead compartment. According to reports, Danielle's mom was struggling because of a cast on her injured foot. An argument between the two parties broke out, in which the teenager said her infamous catchphrase,
"Catch me outside, how about that?"
Catch you outside?
The female passenger allegedly grabbed Danielle's mom by the throat. The 13-year-old delinquent then cold-clocked the woman in the face. The arguments continued, with the woman using a derogatory word to accuse Danielle of trying to act black before allegedly spitting at her. Danielle, her mom, and the woman were all booted off the flight and banned for life by Spirit Airlines. Danielle's catchphrase became a meme after her appearance on Dr. Phil in September last year. The show was titled, "I Want to Give Up My Car-Stealing, Knife-Wielding, Twerking 13-Year-Old Daughter Who Tried to Frame Me for a Crime." Danielle has since been cashing in on her internet infamy, racking up millions of followers on social media and selling her line of merchandise. Danielle was in Los Angeles last week to film a reunion with Dr. Phil that's expected to air next week. No arrests were made following the trouble on the plane.
Passengers beaten up on flight fight, sue Spirit Airlines. An in-flight row over loud music is making things a bit bumpy for Spirit Airlines after 3 passengers involved in the scuffle sued the carrier last Thursday. Takesha Diodato and her friends, fellow plaintiffs Lisa Zampella and Danielle Fonda Thomas, were on the March 9th flight from Baltimore to Los Angeles. They claim that 3 other female passengers sitting close to them were inebriated during the flight, played loud music from a Bluetooth speaker for hours, sang loudly, and stood and danced in the cabin. After the flight touched down at LAX, the drunk women allegedly began shouting offensive and racist remarks and started the fight. When Fonda Thomas informed them that their language was inappropriate in front of children, one of the drunk females turned around and began assaulting her. After a second intoxicated passenger began attacking Fonda Thomas, Diodato and Zampella jumped to her defense. The 3 women are claiming Spirit made things worse by serving too much alcohol and failed to protect them from injury. Maybe they should change their name to Spirits Airlines.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. Azealia Banks goes insane on a plane and drops the F-bomb. Singer-songwriter Azealia Banks is no stranger to controversy, but her latest spat on a plane at Los Angeles International is causing a whole ton of outrage online. TMZ reports that Banks was trying to disembark, but a French couple blocked her path. The man held up his hand to her face, asking her to stop. Banks reportedly lost it and spat at him, punched him in the face, and clawed his shirt like a cat. A flight attendant intervened, grabbing her bag and asking her to calm down, but instead Banks decided to engage in a game of tug-of-war. After the co-pilot came out to calm her, Banks can be heard dropping the F-bomb. Not that F-bomb. The other one that rhymes with maggot. Not cool. The co-pilot told her the police had been called, and this is when she reportedly ran from the plane. Though the cops later caught up with her at baggage claim, the French couple didn't want to press charges. Banks, a bisexual woman herself and someone who's used this particular F word before, says to her it's a term for men who want to bring down women. That's fine, but to everyone else, including the millions of gay men, many of whom consider Banks an icon, it's a homophobic slur. So what do you think? Should Banks apologize? Or is everybody blowing this way out of proportion?
Entitled Flyers Fight Grounds Flight Over Knee Defender. A United Airlines flight from Newark to Denver was diverted after 2 passengers got in a fight over entitlement to reclined seats. A man in the middle of the 12th row on United Flight 1462 used this device called the knee defender to prevent the woman in front of him from reclining. The man wanted to use his laptop, which would have been difficult if the woman reclined. But with knee defender, you just lower your tray table, then place the tiny plastic chocks on the arms. Now you can use your laptop in peace and even recline while you do so if you wish. The flight attendant asked the man to remove the device, but he refused. They couldn't decide who was more entitled, him to use his laptop or her to recline her seat. Especially since they both paid for Economy Plus seating, meaning they already had 4 more inches of legroom than the other sardines packed into coach. The flight was diverted to Chicago after the woman threw a cup of water in the man's face. Then they were both kicked off the flight and the plane continued to Denver without them. The FAA has not banned the knee defender because it doesn't pose a specific safety risk. But they might change their tune after one angry passenger makes the FLIER 1 row back swallow them whole. What's your take? Who do you think was in the right?